Hello there.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited.
I'm glad. Good
I love
topic.
I love talking about the inner family because so many people don't understand it
Hmm.
and it's not talked about enough. And
Yeah.
it really annoys me because it's a part of us and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Why don't you give us a quick 1 to 2 lines of how inner family connects to inner teenager and inner child?
Okay. Well, first, I'm Michelle. Welcome to Moment of Presence, and I am I am Moksha Grace Coaching.
Wait, hold on. I wanted you to give a quick summary before you even do intro.
Well, okay. I don't take direction well. We'll
Just
find
say,
out why in just a moment.
I
However,
love it. Great segue.
exactly.
Perfect.
Ah, so, inside of us lives all the different versions of us. They don't go anywhere as we evolve. They're just kind of placed in a corner, put up on a shelf. However, you want to envision it for yourself is how you have to envision it. But sometimes, uh, all the times, depending on the day, depending on the moment, the situation, a version of you will come out because they feel they're being called to come out to like help you. And sometimes they're not as helpful as they'd like to be or they think that they're being. And if we do not learn how to identify who that is, which version of it of us it is, they're running the show, which is a continuation from last week of are you the puppet or the puppet master? And so this week we could consider talking about who's the puppet master, the inner child or the teen, or the evolved you, your higher self. How is that? Better?
Beautiful. So, who are you?
Well, you know, it's so interesting. The inner child seems to get a really bad rap. And in
I actually meant
reality,
for you to introduce yourself this
and
time. We've got to hold on. Let's take a second to tune in.
why don't we do a moment of presence?
I think that's a great idea. And then while we're doing moment of presence, you and I will our brains will connect for a second.
Yes.
I like it.
All right, so we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to hold it up at the top. We're going to exhale slowly. And whoever just joined us, thank you for joining us. We've decided to take our deep breaths first thing. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. That is why this is called moment of presence, because we give ourselves the moment of being present in the moment. Big
Mm-hmm.
deep breath in and exhale slowly. You know, anybody can do this at any moment, anytime. You could be even in the middle of a meeting losing your shit, and you can take a moment, take some deep breaths without anybody else noticing, and just bring yourself into the moment,
Mm-hmm.
touch the desk, whatever's around you, like literally ground yourself.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice that there'll be a shift in the energy, in the room, in the
Mm-hmm.
environment, how people are responding to you. So that is like a huge technique that I don't think people use enough.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
so let us know that you're here and also share, subscribe, uh, send it out. Um, but this is really good. I'm excited about this topic today, and these two inner beings. How about you? How would you? Well, who are you? I guess just you should start there.
I'm Krista with Wicked Wisdom Consulting. We're here every week for a moment of presence on Thursdays at noon. Michelle is a brilliant life coach and emotional liberation coach who brings us her wisdom every week.
I thank you.
Sure. All right, let's get into the topic.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on this? Because I know right before we went live, you were like, I prepped for this.
Well, so I was trying to okay, how do you describe the inner child? And we everybody always talks about the inner child, right? We always and there's the inner child that wants to play, and we always are like, oh, let your inner child out and have fun. But we're talking about emotional intelligence, inner family, your core inner family, as far as emotional intelligence, and that's different than letting your inner child out to play.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think of your inner family and the different evolutions of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think of when you think of a child that is not necessarily behaving?
I think of temper tantrums. I think
Mm-hmm.
of overreactions, like don't crying over spilled milk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else do I think about? I think of maybe pettiness, maybe some greediness, like that challenge people do with their kid, and they with the cookies and don't touch it. But, impulsive behavior,
Yeah.
activity, things of that nature.
And when we get curious,
Mm-hmm.
right, because that I talk about this all the time, we should be asking ourselves whenever any of our inner family starts acting up, what is it that they're trying to tell us? What is it that they need, right? What are we missing? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's all about us. What are we missing that the inside is trying to tell us?
Mm-hmm.
That warning light I talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And so, with an inner child, for me, what I think about is a child wants love, they want nurturing, right? They want to feel love, they want to feel safe,
Mm-hmm.
they want they want to be fed, they want like the basic life needs, right? Necessities.
Right.
Um, and sometimes they want validation. Look at me, see what I did, mommy, look what I did, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think of, okay, so then how would an inner child, what would that look like when they're acting out? Temper tantrums. So as an adult and my inner child comes out, we've all seen those. I can have a little bit of a temper tantrum and then I'm fine.
No.
What?
Get out of town. We all do, let's be honest.
We all do. Um, it can be when you notice, and this is always interesting because when you learn this about yourself, you can then start recognizing what's happening with somebody else and then potentially respond to them with what they need,
Mm-hmm.
and the situation goes away
Yeah.
because you voided it out, right? Because
Right.
so if they're feeling unloved, what can you do to make them feel loved? If they're
Mm-hmm.
feeling unvalidated and not seen, what can you do to make them feel seen? So as an adult, if I'm at work and I'm doing all this work, but yet no one has said thank you, no one has even acknowledged it, I might start feeling bothered, right? Or I could have a temper tantrum, even if it's no one sees the temper tantrum, but it's like, I'm just not going to do anything then. I'm just going to take the day off, right? So there's little clues that can come up with the inner child and that temper tantrum. What would, security, they need to feel safe. So what would that look like?
Not
Maybe,
listening and running into the street.
well, taking them by the hand, maybe they do need some guidance.
Mm.
Maybe they need someone to guide them. because they feel lost and abandoned and alone.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing to feel as a child. So our inner child, when it feels that way, is going to lash out and is going to, crave that nurturing. Have you ever kind
I
of
think
just,
it's even just craving direction, someone just making a decision for them.
yeah, yeah. How many times have people said like, just decide for me. I don't want to have to make any more
It happened
decisions.
last night when you were like, "Do you want one piece of chicken or two?" And I was like, "I don't really care. Just put whatever on my plate. I'm
Yeah,
been a long day." Yeah.
yeah. And so we get to that. So, these are some of the things for the inner child. So we're going to talk about the teenager. So I had to bring teenager Michelle out.
Oh, look at you. You're so precious.
Me and my short hair. Yeah. I was having teenage moments then. My mom and I were not getting along. I wanted my independence. I wanted to assert myself. Uh I was being rebellious. I think at one point I ran away like a few months, actually probably right around the time this picture was taken, because it's usually taken much earlier in the year. I'm pretty sure I like packed my bags and like ran away for like 2 weeks. I didn't go far, but talked to my mom every day, but was not at home. So when we think about that teenager inside of us,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden we're being rebellious, and as I was reading all of this, I was like, oh, my inner child has not been a problem. This has been my teenager. What are some of my biggest triggers? You tell me no, and I am going to find a way to make it happen, right? I am going to like go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me I can't do something, and I'm going to be like, really? I'll show you how I can. Um,
Tell you, hey, this is a better way to do it, and you go, I'm gonna do it my way anyway.
yeah, I'm going to do it my way. Yeah, I'll admit to that.
Yeah, see, I can't relate because I've just been an inner old lady since
You were the perfect
toddlerhood. So,
teenager. You
all
really
right,
were.
well, let's relax with that. There was that thing called depression, but
Well, and so when you get into that feeling of feeling depressed, that's not your inner child coming out. That's actually your inner teenager, and you're being triggered by something that happened back then.
Mhm.
And the teenager is coming out again, going, "Hi, remember me?" And so, intensity. Think about teenagers. So dramatic,
Yep, angst,
so intense. Yes, yes.
mhm.
Angry, defiant.
Feeling stifled, feeling like put in a corner.
Oh, yeah. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Um, and so there can be lashing out, there can be sarcasm, there can be talking back and not being. It's funny because I can see your father waving at you, and I'm like, we're on live. Hello. Um, risky behavior. Risky behavior can be
Yep,
another one.
yep.
I'm just going to do it because I want to do it. And it's like, but is that really the safest thing to do? And it's like, I'm going to prove to myself that I can still do this stuff. So,
Yep, sounds
triggers.
about right.
So, we have to look at the teenager and go, okay, so what is the teenager trying to tell us? Why is the teenager coming out right now? What is the trigger? What's going on?
Mhm.
Is it that someone told us no? Is it that we're feeling rejected? Is it that uh, we are feeling stifled
Mhm.
and misunderstood? That's another one. How many times as a teenager did you feel misunderstood?
Yeah.
You know, peer pressure, big one, big one, huge.
Yeah.
And so, as an adult, what does that look like? Well, everyone else is doing it this way. Well, that's good for you. I don't do it that way. I do it my way. Well, that's
I
my
don't know that would be peer pressure in this. Like, I'm thinking that the way you phrase that example, I don't know if that would be peer pressure. To me would be more like if someone wants to stop drinking just because it feels more aligned, and everyone around you going, no, come on, you just have this shot, have this beer, come out with us, go to the bar. The example you gave, I almost feel like it's more of just like going against the grain, like just being different, which
yeah.
totally is its own thing. But I feel
Hmm.
like peer pressure is more of like you need to do this to fit in, and like having like when I think of peer pressure, I think of like those people that are like, no, come on, you want to do it, you want to do, come on, you want to do this.
Yes, yes, absolutely. But when when I go to corporate, I think of
Mm,
like the corporate side of it and go,
yeah,
what does peer pressure look like in a business world?
yeah.
And that would be like, no, we're going to do it this way
Mm-hmm.
because this is the
So it's
way.
corporate pressure,
Right.
which triggers the peer pressure from teenagehood.
Exactly. And then that's why you get triggered, and then that's why you start acting out, and the teenager starts being the puppet master
Yep.
and messes up the show of life. So what is it that the teenager, so this is when we can get curious, what does a teenager really need? This internal teenager: autonomy,
To be heard.
to be heard, feeling like they can be independent,
Space.
right? Respected, like my voice matters. Like, you don't have to agree with me, but at least allow me to voice my opinion. Um,
Space.
yes, a good thing to do is to reflect on why is this coming up for me? This feels like my old teenager. Why is this coming up now? And so you ask these yourself these questions, and then you can get some answers.
There's actually another really big one that I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I mean, I guess maybe it would fit into some of the other ones we said, but even finding a way to have control is actually the underlying cause of um, weight gain that won't go away, eating disorders,
Mm-hmm.
um, even, addictions to fitness and things like that, because especially with weight, it can feel like, well, this is the only thing that I have control of. Someone else is controlling the rest of my life, so I have control of this. It becomes so subconscious that you don't even realize it. And
Yeah,
I'm talking about some cases. I understand there's other things at play for people. I'm not speaking blanketly for everybody, but I am saying that can be a connection with things of that nature.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, Even with the going back to the being seen,
Hmm.
the emerging, like for me, I'm getting to the next chapter of my life. There's a new chapter, and it's, as far as age goes, and so it's emerging. I know you're like, what?
Like,
And it's emerging into that and going, but I feel very I feel very secure in who I am,
hmm,
and what I can do at this point in my life. But there's getting used to some stuff too, like, little odd aches and pains and
yeah.
things that happen like that, but being okay with it. And that's the other part, is that you're emerging, and as a teenager we emerge, and it's scary, and sometimes we don't want to be seen, we want to hide.
Yeah.
And so this is a big part of self-acceptance, that radical self-acceptance
Hmm.
of the entire family, of everything that we bring to the table, who we are, and loving ourselves no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a whole other side of this too that is so much it's a little bit harder to detect, but I think it's making me think of a funny memory, which is your body language can really clue you in on inner child versus inner teenager as well. I remember years ago there was a time where we were talking about something, and I literally took a picture of you because I was like, I need you to see the body the body language that you're giving off right now. And you were sitting on the couch, like with your knees pulled up to your chest, and you were like hugging them. And I was like, you're literally put yourself basically in the fetal position on the
Yeah.
couch. That, I mean, sitting upright, we were talking about anyway.
Yes.
Versus to me, like my thought with like a teenager would be more of like, right, like attitude,
Try me.
strong stance, arms crossed,
Yeah.
probably, a lot of head bobbing. Well, I don't want to do it that way. So you can even, like, if you're new to this, you can even tune into your body language and see like what is your
Mhm.
body telling you, because we do these things instinctively. So
Mhm.
that can be honestly even a fun little game. Even watching other people and watching their body language, you can
Yeah.
really get a clue for how they're feeling,
Mhm.
who's running the show that day. It's
Mhm.
really it can be a fun game even.
Yeah. I mean, you can make it as fun as you want it to, as easy as you want it to. The bottom line is that this inner family, and I'm going to say it again for those in the back, the inner family is not going away. So you either accept all of the versions of yourself that are hanging around, know them because you do know them.
Hmm.
They're you, and you accept them
Hmm.
and realize that they are going to pop their head out every now and again, and they are going to try to wreak havoc or bring you back into an old past memory or moment because that was comfortable back then. So the
But
fetal
here's
position or what have you.
But here's the thing, when those situations come up and you can recognize, okay, this is my inner child or this is my inner teenager, you then have the opportunity to ask yourself, what did what did I need when I was a kid?
Hmm.
And these same, like, I had this same reaction. What did I need at that time? When I was a teenager, if that's what's coming out, what did I need at that time?
Hmm.
I needed space. Okay, I'm gonna give myself some space.
Hmm.
Or as a kid, I needed a hug, and no, maybe you came from a family that wasn't very physical in affection. I
Hmm.
just needed a hug, and there was no one there to give me a hug. Find someone to give you a hug. I mean,
Hmm.
it really can be that simple too, but through identifying, who's coming out at that time, whether it's the inner child or inner teenager, you really can start to heal those little versions of you, those younger versions of you. And
Yeah.
just like anything else, they're not going to go away forever, but you start to improve the relationship that you have with that side of yourself. And they become less, what would you say? They become less
Rebellious.
rebellious,
Boisterous.
aggressive, allow you to stop
Aggressive.
lashing out as much, because you're healing those traumas, those little micro traumas that you didn't
Well,
even
yeah.
realize happened. Um, and so things start to get a little bit easier, but it starts with identifying.
And the cool part is that the reason why you can have a different relationship with them now is because you are the adult, and so
Mhm.
you can be the adult that you needed back then. You
Yeah,
can give yourself or provide for yourself what it was that you didn't get then. you
correct.
can you can give yourself and be your own hero in that moment.
Yeah.
So if you need to be seen, then for God's sakes, go out and go do something. We
Post
both
a blog
know.
about it, or whatever that means to
Right,
you.
right. Don't lash out, right? You want to do things in a healthy manner.
Mhm.
You don't want to do things that are going to have a lasting negative effect. You want to be more positive about it. But
Yeah.
again, you're an adult, and so now you can handle it differently because you can put these methods in place and these techniques when you understand them. You can prep for them because it's
Yeah.
going to happen. It's
Right.
going to happen. They're going to come out. And so, all right. So, uh, what do teenagers crave? Autonomy, validation, emergence, being seen. What are some things that you can do in the moment? Because as we know, when a teenager, just like when a child is having a temper tantrum, it doesn't mean that that is the moment that you should address the situation.
Hmm.
So maybe you need to walk away and literally give yourself a timeout. Like, just give it a timeout.
Yeah.
Sometimes, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the key, whatever, we're gonna talk about this, but I think the key is really to find what you need, and that really goes back to even what did you need. If you're not sure now, think about what did you need back then. And so, like, that just made me think, you're saying don't necessarily try to do something in the moment. What I needed as a teenager was someone to be like, stop being effing ridiculous. Stop being a little baby, get a grip, and move on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it would have hurt for a second, like ripping off a Band-Aid, but man, would that have been a good little notion to hear, especially from myself. Oh, forget about it.
Right. And now you get to say that to yourself.
Correct. I
What's
do live
funny
there.
is what's funny is you were talking, I was thinking about when I was a teenager and I was feeling isolated, unseen, unheard, like
Mhm,
abandoned. What did I need and what did I do? And
mhm.
how did I respond? I would lock myself in my bedroom. I would turn on the saddest songs and I would sing and cry until I got it out. What do I do now?
I don't know that you scream and cry now, but you certainly, and I don't know that you lock the door, but you
No.
certainly sing.
No, I put my karaoke light that you got me that says karaoke night. I put that on the window so y'all know.
Yeah.
Like, if you
Put
don't want to hear
in your
me,
earplugs.
if you don't want to hear me scream singing, don't come in.
Yeah.
But you know, those are the thing. Like, what is it that you can do and have in place? Like, okay, I'm not going to break things. And I don't think one time I had a fit and I broke some things in my bedroom because I was so angry and I regretted it so much that I then never again broke anything. Like, I never did that again.
I don't know why the visual I'm seeing is like you like grabbing a pencil and being like,
Oh,
I'm
show
sure it
her.
was not. Yeah, I'm sure it was something different, but it just made me laugh.
Yeah, no, it was this little porcelain something. I just remember it being like something really meant a lot to me, and I like threw it across the room, and I was so upset with myself, and then I never did it again.
Mhm.
But what are some things? So, one, refer to it as I feel, right? Not I am. I am mad versus I feel mad.
Yeah,
I feel unseen. I feel unheard.
I feel
So,
annoyed.
right, right. So that's one.
Well, hold
Two,
on. Why? Because you're separating yourself from the feeling. If I am mad,
right.
I'm taking on that persona versus I feel mad, I feel pissed, I feel angry. That's something that comes and it goes. And so it's easier for your conscious and subconscious to let it go because you understand that it is a feeling that's going to come and go.
And so if someone says to you, like, what's wrong with you today? You know what? I'm feeling unheard. I'm feeling disrespected. And
Hmm.
then that's not the time to get into the argument with the person.
No.
What is it that I can do to help you? Do you want me to sit with you? Do you want me to listen? Do you want feedback? And you're great at that. You're like, just listen. I don't need you to give me
Hmm.
advice. And that's really important. And I think that a lot of people would do themselves great justice if they got into that habit with their
Yeah.
friend, their family, coworkers, what have you, of when you see me this way, like if I say I'm good, just let me be, then they need to walk away and let you be. That's not the time to talk about it.
Well, but
Uh,
it's also that's a really great strategy if you have kids or teenagers and you see them having, moments
mhm.
relatively often. Is I think a lot of and grown people too. I think a lot of times we don't want to talk about it because we don't want to hear what the person has to say. And so even coming from the other person of like, hey, listen, if you need to talk about this, I can totally just listen. I don't need to give you advice. I don't need to tell you what I think, but I can just listen. It gives them that freedom and that safe space of taking down those walls in that container of, I know if I say this, I'm going to have to hear this whole spiel that I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people can lock up and not want to share anymore. So if we create that framework of, listen, I'm just here to listen. If you want to share, I'm happy to do that. If you decide you do want to hear my thoughts, you let me know, but I can just sit here and be here for you and listen to what you have to say, which then helps them be able to open up.
Yeah. And if it's even them yelling, screaming, crying, letting it all out, hand them a tissue. Do not baby them. Do not like just
Yeah.
be that and that person that's on the other end listening. Don't absorb their energy. Don't take it on as yourself.
Don't do that.
Like, don't do that. Like, literally, as you say that, and if they accept the offer, like, put a bubble around yourself and just be like, okay, this is their issue. I'm going to be there for them because I want to be from my heart. And then that's it.
Yeah.
It's theirs. It is not yours to take on. It is not yours to fix. And that's very important to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some other things? Structure. Maybe your teenager, just like our teenagers back in the day, I know for me especially, I needed structure. I lacked structure growing up. And so there were times that I would get out of hand. I didn't know any better, and I didn't have someone to really kind of bring me back in.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting up some structure for yourself now that you're an adult, you can do that. Again, be the adult that you needed when you were that kid, that teenager, that child.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that for yourself now. And so what would that look like? Do you need to put a timer on and work for 20 minutes and then take a 5-minute break and walk around? What does that structure look like for you?
Yeah.
But make sure you put that in place.
Absolutely. I have no comment on that.
And then the other thing is give yourself, time yourself, because we can dissolve and spiral, overthink, ruminate, and lose it. And that's all fine.
Mm-hmm.
What isn't fine is one, when you destroy property or you do something that is not good for you. And two, when you sit in it for too long.
Yeah.
So a good best practice would be time yourself. Give yourself 10 minutes of some intense activity. Go to the gym for 10 minutes. Punching bag, punch a pillow, go for a run, do some jumping jacks.
Mm-hmm.
If you're creative, whether you want to journal, whether you want to paint, whether you want to draw, but let it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because once it comes out, once that energy, once the words, especially if it's being verbal or you're singing, once it comes out, you're going to feel so much lighter. The clouds are going to clear. And then you can start moving up the emotional guidance scale.
Yeah.
And if you've been around for a while, you've heard us talk about the emotional guidance scale. You can't go from depressed to blissful, but we could go from angry to content. Like, I feel better. I let that out. And then if you are even in anger, you can channel that energy and go, okay, I'm upset, I'm angry, but what can I do about it? Because remember, we're adults now. What can we do about it? If we're angry about something, what can we do and put it into action? What would that action plan look like?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest thing that our society is missing is physical activity.
Oh,
There's a reason.
absolutely.
There's a reason why, since the recess time has decreased astronomically in the last 25 years since I've been in elementary school. It's probably longer than that. Quick math is not my friend today. But there's a reason that as recess time has shrunk, the ADHD and temper tantrums and lashing out has increased. There are a very brave group of parents who you'll find stuff about them online where they will literally, if their kid's throwing a temper tantrum, go outside and run a lap. Come back to me when you're ready to have a conversation about this. They
Yeah.
come back, they're still throwing a fit. Okay, do another lap. Come back to me when you're ready to talk about this. After 2, 3, 4 laps, wow, now the kid can tell them what's wrong. This person hurt my feelings. Perfect. That energy has nowhere to go. It's the same thing with an adult.
Yeah.
You're feeling pissed off, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling whatever. Move your body. It doesn't have to be running a lap. It can be walking down the street. It can be doing a quick set of jumping jacks. It can be having a little dance party if that's your jam. It can be doing burpees, push-ups, whatever you want. Walking the dog. But move your body, because the only way to get that energy out of your body, one of the ways, is physical activity. Same thing with your anxious. When you're feeling super anxious and you're riled up and you're feeling that angst and like your chest is tight, move your body.
Yeah.
Displace that stuck and stagnant energy. Get it out of your body. And the way to do that is to exhaust your body. And that's honestly, even people who have issues with insomnia and things like that, I'm not saying it's a cure all. Again, this isn't a blanket
Right.
statement, but it very well could be that you are not exhausting enough energy from your body. And so then when it gets to night and it's time to sleep, you still have too much energy locked inside your body.
Yeah.
If
You
you
have
took the time
discarded.
to really exhaust yourself, could help. Again, not a blanket statement, not a doctor, giving suggestions.
And we don't play one on TV. And even, go outside, look up at the stars, dispel your energy into Mother Earth. Like,
And that's not enough, physically move your body.
yeah, physically. I mean, there's dance meditations.
No, but I mean, like, if you're having issues and you need to move, that's not going to cut it. You need
Right.
to, like, borderline break a
Yeah.
sweat or break a sweat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's an energetic disruptor. Just like we have disruptors in the world, you can disrupt your own energy, your own environment, and shift, because it's going to help you shift
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that you're feeling or you're going through.
Yeah.
And you can do that with music. You can do it with anything. With
Absolutely.
anything. Get up, do something different.
Yeah. Get the adrenaline pumping.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, this has been really good. Who do you think has been more prevalent um, in the last few months? Your inner child or your teenager? After today's talk,
I want to say my inner teenager, just because uh, been I've dealt with a couple of situations that would have triggered my inner teenager. That it was great because I handled them differently this time, so a little bit of healing happened. I think I think we all always have a little bit of inner child in there, especially when well, that's not fair. That's a big one. What
yeah.
about for you?
Oh, definitely my inner teenager. Like I see it more clearly now than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, I do this work all the time, but I have lumped the teenager in with the inner child, and I did a disservice to I did a disservice to her.
Oh, stop! I'm gonna cry.
My little Michelle with her short hair and her spikes, her spiky hair,
You can't see
and,
the.
and her braid. I was very rebellious. I had like a braid that like hung like down to here, because I had to be like till Tuesday, which was a band back in the day. But yeah, definitely there's some rebellion going on, and like I will not age quietly. Like I want to go to concerts, and I want to ride a bike, and I want to jump out of a plane. We were talking about that the other night. Um, it's just it. She's around, and it's a good thing. She's the one that like gives me energy and like pumps me up too. She's the one that challenges me. And so you can think of it as something bad, or you can think of it as, oh, okay. Am I not challenging myself? Am I getting bored? Do I need to jazz it up? When I was a kid, I used to like re arrange my room probably I want to say like every 6 weeks.
That's a staple of being a teenager, and that's actually really funny because I didn't do that very often at all. I liked order. I like things to be the same way. I'm telling you, I've been 65 internally since I was 3 years old. My brother, however, just like you, carbon copy of you,
Yep.
always rearranging his room, and it'd be late, and I'd hear all this stuff moving around. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Set it and forget it, dude.
No, you got to change it up. You got to like move things around, and it's moving the energy and the feng shui of the room. And it just, it's
Yep.
so funny. So, me and my son are exactly carbon copies, and my daughter, Krista, and her father are carbon copies.
Yeah.
And even driving, we have very similar ways that we do everything.
The genes are strong in our family.
They are. They are.
And on
Um,
that note, where can people find you, Michelle?
People can find me at mokshagrace.com. This is not necessary. You can definitely start doing some of this work on your own, getting to know your inner family. What I do with my clients so that you find emotional liberation is not only identify your inner family, but really uh, fix the relationship you have with the different aspects of
Heal the
yourself.
relationship you have.
Heal the relationship, create new relationships with them, and learn how to work together really well so that you can respond to life differently. And so it's a lot of fun, and it's not what people think when people think, oh, shadow work, it's so scary. It's not scary. It's only as scary as you make it. But it's you. And I think that's the hardest part that people have is learning about the radical acceptance.
Yeah.
I just want to get rid of this part of myself. You can't. Like it's there.
Yeah.
So acknowledge it, stop resisting it because what we resist persists. And so we learn how to manage all of that and how to utilize it in a healthier manner.
And
So you can book a call with me. We can have a conversation, decide what is the best plan of action for you. And I have Odonata Community, which is a weekly group coaching call that is subscription based. So you can join for a month, you can join for 6 months, you can join for a year. But it's a good place for us to come together and we're all going through it. It's life. It's life. Krista, where can people find you?
you can find me at wickedwisdomconsulting.com. Nice and easy. Just one place for me. And yeah, seriously, as just to reiterate what you said, a lot of the stuff you can absolutely do yourself. But the idea is to make it easier, not have to go through the roadblocks that Michelle has gone through herself. It can be a much shorter process for you to work through these things, to have someone that can guide you on that path. So I really encourage everyone, if you want to start doing some internal work and really see some positive changes, book a call, go to mokshagrace.com, and check out the offers that are there.
I would say if I had to look back at the clients that have gone through, the emotional liberation and really working with their inner family, 3 months has made a drastic
Yeah.
shift in their life. Client went from being single and not really knowing what was going to happen, and now she's happily married and living life. Uh, Clients that have sat in their sadness for weeks on end, not knowing how to process their emotions, are now doing it in an hour or less. And so it really does help every aspect of your life. Because if you can do that in your personal life, you can do that at home, you can do it in every aspect. Um, and you set better examples too for the future. So, thank you for joining us. Number one, great to have you all here. If anyone has any questions, we monitor the comments, but you can also reach out and ask me questions, book a call for that. Uh, every day we get to make choices because life is all about choices. And you can wake up and have a really good day, or you can wake up and decide it's not going to be a great day. All depends on you and which one of your inner family members is running the show the day. So you get to choose wisely.